Think of the weirdest console. Well, there are a lot of weird consoles that come to mind, but today we're talking about a very specific one. I introduce to you Zeebo, the Latin American game console, a very ambitious concept to say the least. Introduced in 2009, the console was aiming itself at developing markets such as Brazil and Mexico for education, technology awareness, and gaming. Value proposition was affordability and accessibility along with cheaper games. Ambition didn't carry on in the specifications, however. 528 MHz chip, Adreno GPU, 1GB storage, 160 MB of RAM, 480 display, and 3G connectivity. When you think of a device this niche, what's the last thing that would come to your mind? That's right, the involvement of a major company like Qualcomm. Mike Yuan from Qualcomm came up with the business plan for this thing. In addition, the console was running on Qualcomm Brew. Chipset was similar to a mobile device. The approach to the actual content was interesting. There were no DVDs, no actual slots, nothing. This was all done to prevent piracy. The games and content were intended to be downloaded over broadband cellular. You know, for a company to bring affordable consoles to underdeveloped regions of the world, it was a counterintuitive move. Because when I think of developing markets, I think internet access, right? Maybe provide DVDs for archiving and for preservation and ease of accessibility. I understand that piracy is way severe in those markets, but this was just not the right move. On the bright side, there was no subscription fee. You had access to 3G and Edge for free. The crazy part is the company garnered the attention of some major players like Activision, EA, Capcom, Disney, and Namco. It's the first time I've heard these major players sporting a very niche console. Anywho, the launch price for this thing was around $270. Just 3 months after, the price dropped to just $170. Not a good sign. But 1 year after its launch, they were upgrading the console with internet access and a more ergonomic gamepad. Brazilians who owned the previous iteration could upgrade to it for free. Same year, they announced an agreement with AT&T that would grant access to the international roaming network, allowing them to carry out trials of Zeebo in different locations before they could partner with local cellular companies to provide the downloadable content. In May 2011, the project ended. They still had plans for an Android console, the successor of Zeebo, but that never came to fruition. More than 50 games were released for this. Among the notables were Tekken 2, FIFA, Need for Speed, and what? Resident Evil 4? You're telling me that Resident Evil 4 was on this? Oh, that looks awful. Never mind. These games had awful graphics and were janky, but what do you expect from an SoC running at half a gigahertz? I had never heard of this console before. One day I was just randomly reading articles and I came across this one. Zeebo is finally getting an emulator. I just love the emulator and game preservation community. It's still in early stages, but the platform Qualcomm Brew is pretty well understood and the developer behind it is already getting some really impressive results. Maybe we'll look back at it again in a few months and try to run some games. As much as I respect the vision behind this device, keep in mind that it came out in the era of PlayStation 3. Even the competing budget consoles weren't as inferior as this one. The specifications were extremely underwhelming, which limited the potential for games. To give you some context, the first Galaxy S came out just months later and it had 1 GHz processor. To add to the complexities, they decided to forego the physical media entirely, which didn't help their circumstances. It's kinda sad to see the implementation and execution of the vision so botched, especially when you consider huge names like Qualcomm, Namco, EA, Activision, and Disney were involved. It could have been a serious competitor, but was still an innovative idea with admirable goal. With that being said, this is Roguehead. I hope you guys enjoyed this perspective. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you guys later.